Annyeong doobies! We are in the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans is the city of great history, culture, and you know what that means. It means there's gonna be some really good grubs. What are you waiting for? Let's go!
There is always jazz flowing through the streets of New Orleans. Home to the great Mardi Gras, New Orleans is one of those places that doesn't feel like America but is quintessentially American, being a city that's built by immigrants. Although 24 hours is too little of a time to explore all the great cuisines available in New Orleans, I'm going to try my best to taste my way through its history, trying all the places you can only try here in the Big Easy. Let's go!
Live. No place like New Orleans.
So the two foods you need to try while you're in New Orleans is Creole and Cajun. To simplify what Creole and Cajun means, Creole is any American descendants of European settlers, and Cajun are the descendants of French Acadians. And you can think of the difference in cuisine as Creole being the more city food and Cajun being the more countryside food, like more rustic fare. Another thing you need to try while you're in New Orleans is definitely the seafood. It's close to the water with rivers and the mangrove trees, and that means there's gonna be a lot of shrimp. So I'm gonna gorge myself in shrimp, seafood, Creole, and Cajun food, and some spice and love. And our first stop is going to be Café du Monde.
You can't say you've been to New Orleans without trying beignets from Café du Monde. This iconic cafe has been serving powdered beignets and chicory coffee since 1862 for 161 years. Inside, you'll see Vietnamese ladies tossing the hot beignets straight from the oil into a gargantuan mound of powdered sugar, servers with their hands full of cash pouring coffee into the cups, and green trays being pushed out from the kitchen to hungry guests. This is Café du Monde. They take cash only, so make sure you have your stacks ready.
To start off our day, we are here at the iconic Café du Monde, where they serve fresh hot beignets, completely avalanched in a snow of powdered sugar. There is powder everywhere. This honestly looks like a scene out of Scarface. There's jazz playing in the air, there's a live band that was just playing, and people are really enjoying themselves. I feel like this is a spot that people come as their first stop when they visit New Orleans because it's so iconic. Café du Monde is an open market cafe. You have the fans whirring, people are sitting outside, and these waitresses and waiters with their iconic hats, and it is a sight to see. They only take cash, and the servers are honestly, they have some attitude, and we honestly love that. Like our server, she's a Vietnamese queen, and she was just like not having it today. But like, we understand that here, you know, we all have some good days and bad days. When you bite into it, the outside is super crispy and light and fluffy, but inside is actually much denser than you would expect, and that's because the gluten has been activated, and the powdered sugar, it really like stings your taste buds as soon as you put it in, but you kind of like tone it down with the chicory coffee. And chicory, for those who don't know, is a root. That's all I can say.
It's those dark, bitter, chocolatey notes, but there's this nice little floral element too as well. During the Civil War, they had a trade embargo on the city, and they couldn't get coffee imported. So everyone took the coffee they had and added chicory root to it to stretch it and make it last longer.
Honestly, can I taste the difference between regular coffee and chicory coffee? I gotta be honest with you, I can't. It tastes like regular hot coffee with a little bit of creamer. It's a great way to start off your day in New Orleans, and you have to come. It doesn't matter if it's over touristed, if it's overhyped. It's just one of those places you have to come and just enjoy the vibe. The sun is beautiful, people are happy, everyone's covered in beignet, and they look like they've been sniffing a lot of Coke, but that's part of the charm. Hot tip, if you want to see how the beignets are made, you gotta come to the back alley. There's a little window in the back, and you can see all the beignets being made. The dough is getting pounded. It goes through this machine where it cuts it into these squares, and then this guy grabs the squares and flings it out like a frisbee, and it lands in the oil, and as soon as the dough hits the oil, it puffs up immediately to the shape that we know, like a pillow shape, and then you put the rack down to make sure that the beignets are completely submerged and that they're golden brown. Super simple, but incredible technique. There's one guy making beignets for the whole restaurant, and if you think about how many people visit New Orleans, let's say each tourist gets 3 beignets a day. That's a crazy amount of beignets that he makes per one person, and that is incredible. The flow of service, immaculate. So yeah, if you really want to see how the beignets are made, come to the back alley. Everywhere you walk in New Orleans, you're gonna see so much Gator memorabilia. A little morbid, but I guess it's like commemorating what you're eating. I don't know, you are what you eat. That doesn't make sense. I think the sports team here is Gators. Anyways, so we are going to be trying some Gator, and there's a place here in the French market where they sell Gator on a stick. So we're gonna try that as a little snack before lunch. Let's try some Gator. So the area that we're in is called the French Quarter because it was founded by the French, and it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in New Orleans. And it's a place where the French came to trade all the goods from New Orleans, like sugar, spice, rice, etc. Yeah, this is the place. This is the place. Let's try a New Orleans Gator on a stick. Hi, could I try the Gator on a stick, please? Nice. Not gonna lie, I don't think this is what I imagined Gator to look like. For some reason, I imagined it to look like a small Gator on a stick. You know, like those night market scorpions, but like a small Gator. I don't know why I was thinking that. But anyway, so this is a Gator sausage. It's filled with Gator meat. For alligators, most of the meat is actually in the tail. So you get the tail meat, grind it up with chili, spices, anything that tastes good, I guess. I'm gonna take a bite. Actually really pleasant. It's salty, it's fatty. I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually like a pork sausage. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So this type of sausage is called an andouille sausage. And the sausage also has a really nice bite to it because it's not so mushy with fat. It has a nice lean meat, which I personally love in sausages because it creates a nice bite. I would not be upset if I swapped out my pork links for Gator sausage every morning, if it was possible. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. And that's really high in my books. Gator, rad. It's supposed to be a pun like Gatorade, but instead it's like Gator rad. I'm not on my A game today. Ooh, boozy. I also got a pina colada. Don't tell the kids. We're gonna get some proper Creole food. I'm craving some gumbo, some po' boys. There's a place called Lizzie's by the Track, and it looks so amazing. I got recommended it by one of my New Orleans native friends here, so let's go check it out. Rock and roll, baby. Rock and roll.
Before we dive into Liuzza's, a quick description of what Cajun food really is. Cajun is a slang for Acadian who were French settlers deported by the British from Nova Scotia. Their country-style cooking is characterized by what could be harvested from the swamps and bayous, and it's a mix of Spanish, Native American, and African cuisines. Okay, now back to Liuzza's. Liuzza's is located a little outside of downtown New Orleans, away from the touristed areas. It's a cozy neighborhood, family-owned joint serving true Cajun New Orleans staples. You'll see local regulars stopping for a sandwich and a gumbo, chatting with the staff. This is the place to taste what life is really like in New Orleans.
I have not had good Southern cooking in a long time. Especially something that you can only find in the South is fried green tomatoes. And the breading on these fried green tomatoes is just insane. I'm gonna dip it in the sauce. Wow. I don't know why they don't sell this more places. If you've never tried fried green tomatoes before, it's a little acidic. It has a really nice bite to it. It almost tastes like eggplant, but sour, but with a nicer bite to it. And with the sauce, it kind of tastes like Thousand Island, but if she was more sour. It's killer. It's so good. It's a little different from the poboy that you might be expecting, which is deep fried, but this is their specialty. And I love the fact that they drizzle sauce over the hard French baguette. It soaks up all the sauces with the butter, the black pepper, some of that shrimp juices, and it's just a perfect medium to carry all those flavors in one bite. A little bit of lemon. The shrimp is perfectly cooked when it's like juicy like this. See, and it has like a gloss to it. Overcooked shrimp just loses that glisten and it just falls flat, whereas this just looks juicy as heck. The sauce drizzled over on the top. Look at that. Absolutely scrumptious. The shrimp almost feels like butter in my mouth. It's a nice tangy texture to it, but at the same time, it's so soft and buttery. You know that it's been cooked perfectly, and it's so easy to overcook shrimp. It can't take too much heat. It's gentle, like a little baby. I've never seen this brand of hot sauce, actually. It's the Louisiana Pure Crystal Hot Sauce. The ingredients are aged red cayenne pepper, distilled vinegar, and salt. Super simple. Did you know there's a sriracha shortage in America? Actually, was driving down south and I stopped at a pho place and they had bootleg sriracha and I was like, what the heck? It's on the acidic side of hot sauces. Actually, it's quite spicy. It kind of hits you at the end. And usually, I would say fried food is always better. Not this time. Definitely the best po' boy of my life. So I also got a cup of the gumbo. Inside, there is the andouille sausage that I talked about earlier. Obviously, we have the shrimp because we're in Shrimp Nation. And the choice of protein for this gumbo seems to be chicken. I'm assuming it's also flavored with chicken broth. Inside, there is bell pepper, celery, onion, rice, and all the aromatics that you want. The type of rice that's produced here is different from Asian rice. This is less starch, so it's really perfect to put in soups because it doesn't cluster up and become like congee. Like it doesn't become congealed. Like the black pepper is very prominent, and as somebody who loves spice, this is really right up my alley. The more south you go, the more heavily flavored the foods are and more fried food that you'll find because if it's hot, you want to have something crunchy and salty and spicy because your taste buds get dulled out. This is the crawfish etouffee. Inside there's rice and it's flavored with tomato broth. I've actually never tried it before and I've only had crawfish a handful of times. And you can see the big bites of protein like embedded throughout the etouffee. You have the celery, the bell pepper, onions that are very much prominent throughout each dish. Wow. It honestly reminds me of somewhere between like a lobster bisque and New England clam chowder, surprisingly enough. It's super buttery. It's really decadent. Creaminess is not from cream. It's a butter and the flour mixture called a roux. Acts as a thickening agent. And this is also a very French technique that they've incorporated with local ingredients. Fantastic example of different cultures coming together, creating something beautiful and indigenous to this place. Really good. Really, really good. Thank you so much. Man, Liuzza's by the track. It's a little out there. It's not in the touristed part of New Orleans. Hospitality, 10 out of 10. Food, 20 out of 10. Very unique, and I would definitely say to come visit when you're in New Orleans. Well, that was absolutely delicious. I have a completely full belly, like half moon right here. I look pregnant. So I'm gonna burn off some calories by swimming. Let's go for a dive. We're here at Fontainebleau. People don't think of beautiful beaches when they think of New Orleans, but look at this. There's mangroves, there's trees, there's a forest, water and sand. We paid $3 per person to get here and it is so beautiful. I highly recommend. Okay, let's go for a swim. We're here in front of Crawfish and Chill. Tagline is keep calm and peel on. Whoever did the logo for this place deserves, I don't know, a Pulitzer Prize. They really hooked us up with a lot of shrimp. Now this is what I call a proper seafood boil. It's doused in butter, garlic, and the spicy Old Bay seasoning on top. We have some eggs, some potatoes, some boiled shrimp, and yam, and corn is usually my favorite part of seafood boil. American sweet corn just hits different. And a very necessary utensil that you need is disposable plastic glove, MJ. Seafood boil for me is just an excuse to drink spicy butter. It's honestly all in the sauce. Apparently eating spicy food makes you burn more calories. All the years of listening to nutritional classes, it's out the window. We pick and choose with science and men. What I thought was yam, actually, when I ripped it apart, I realized it's not yam, it's sausage. But yeah, massive sausage. The sausage game here in New Orleans, I understand why there's a lot of bachelorette parties here. The spicy potatoes. So yummy. My lips are turning bright red right now. It's the Cajun spice. It's really kicking me in the butt. And when you're struggling with the heat and the spiciness, you take a big bite of the sweet corn and the sweet juices just burst in your mouth. American corn. I don't know how they do it. My face, and when I rub it, it burns. Oh, the guy was... I think this actually might be the spiciest food I've had in the US. Honestly, there's no game without pain. That's the thing with seafood boil. It's so addictive. Like, I feel like I'm gonna sweat my balls off. Oh, it's good. I don't know what to do. I love you, corn. Making out with this corn right now. Corn hub. I need a paywall for shit like this. 진짜. Okay. I'm gonna eat more. Why do I feel like I'm sucking on a condom?
It was time for me to go to sleep, definitely. We have a long, jam-packed day tomorrow with a lot of driving, so I'll see you tomorrow morning. We're starting off our morning like kings with a breakfast at Brennan's. They've been open since 1946, serving their takes on New Orleans Creole cuisine, and don't let the pink decor outside fool you. Brennan's was named as the New York Times top 50 restaurants in the US last year, and I called in advance to ask if it was okay to film like the usual drill, and the team surprised us by showing us a little insider tour of the whole restaurant and the back kitchen after the meal, so watch till the end to get a little sneak peek.
So a little about Brennan's. This is a local establishment, and this is the birthplace of the famous Banana Foster, and this is the main reason why we came here. The coffee is so good. But still, I don't know where the chicory element comes in.
It's those dark, bitter, chocolatey notes. Yeah, you can taste the difference if you put it next to plain coffee. It's really strong, really bitter. But there's this nice little floral element too as well. During the Civil War, they had a trade embargo on the city and they couldn't get coffee imported. So everyone took the coffee they had and added chicory root to it to stretch it and make it last longer. Every time there was a major crisis, like the Great Depression, the amount of chicory they put in the coffee became a little bit more. And we're at the point now where usually it's about 50-50. Our blend is 25-75. Chicory to coffee, yeah.
But that makes sense because this coffee is really, really strong and it almost has like a mocha aftertaste.
Oyster Chemin.
Biggest pepper grinder I've ever seen in my life.
It's so cute.
Yeah. Cute is... Okay, wow. I've never had a cornbread crumble. Cornbread's a little bit sweeter than normal like panko, so the sugar in it will caramelize a lot better. The oysters are really juicy and succulent and sweet almost. The celery adds a really nice crunch and a textural difference along with cornbread crumble on top. In the center, I think we have some of the turtle meat, really soft and also really sweet actually. The base of the soup is a tomato-based broth. She's adding the sherry vinegar on top to give a little bit of acidity and brightness to the soup. It's a really good soup. I've been eyeing this biscuit for a long time. You know it's a good biscuit when the biscuit looks like cottage cheese legs. Cottage cheese legs reference photo. The uglier the biscuit, the better it is. Wow, so crumbly. Crumb texture on this is insane. Look at that. Salty, buttery, fluffy. Wow. When I die, I want to lay on this buttermilk biscuit. It would feel like sleeping on clouds. Okay. Now onto our entree, egg soussard. The yolk is just incredibly runny. Like, look at this. It's like the Niagara Falls of egg yolk. So underneath is an English muffin topped off with a Canadian bacon, poached egg, hollandaise, and marchand de vin sauce. You know what I really love about the food here in New Orleans? People understand technique, good ingredients, and the importance of spice and acidity. So here we have our steak tartare dish. We have the raw beef tartare on the bottom, fermented kohlrabi sliced thinly, and this crispy thing, it kind of looks like rice paper, but it's actually crispy beef tendon. I'm gonna try the beef tendon first, actually. What the pho? You know what it tastes like? Word for word is pho. I think there's a little bit of five spice sprinkled over as well. That's what I'm associating the pho flavors to. Beef tendon, wow, the crispy beef tendon is salty but really crispy. This to me screams like how modern New Orleans is. There's a lot of Vietnamese influence and along with local ingredients. This is like a little corny, but melting pot. That was too corny.
A little butter, brown sugar, and cinnamon on top. I'll let that melt away. I have my ice cream, I have bananas, a little banana liqueur, and a Barbados dark rum. The story goes the year was 1952. Mr. Owen Brennan, who's best friends with Mr. Richard Foster, receives a phone call for a job promotion, and it was like a big deal. So Mr. Owen Brennan decides to treat his best friend to a special dessert. The only thing he thought about treating his friend to a dessert at last minute. So she decided, let me do something with the bananas Fosters. Bananas Fosters.
A little persuaded into ordering 2 desserts. So here we have the banana pudding on top with some vanilla ice cream. And this is just super sticky. Just came straight out of the oven. When you top it off with a cold vanilla ice cream, caramelized pecans, warm bread, rum-soaked golden raisins. Not a big fan of raisins usually, but when it's soaked in rum, it is so good. Kind of like bursts of alcohol. And who doesn't want a burst of alcohol? Look at that. It's ooey gooey, it's messy, it's warm, it's cold temperatures. When hot meets cold, something magical happens in your mouth. There's a part of my brain that tickles and it just like scratches that itch. I like how New Orleans roll. They don't mess around with their spice, their acidity, or their rum. It also looks like an egg right now because it melted a bit. But I'm gonna try the caramel sauce with the melted ice cream. Oh, not as sweet as I thought it was gonna be. The banana liqueur from the beginning, I thought the essence of it would be completely gone when they flambe it, but actually those subtle notes are really well preserved in the caramel. The caramel's a little loose, but it kind of is like acts as almost like a broth and coats the bananas ever so lightly. Wow. I sounded like a corny cat just now. Wow. Really, like, it's such a smart dish. And the right banana for this dish is not the ones that are like super mushy where it's turning brown. That would just completely disintegrate into the caramel sauce. You want a banana that can hold up and has a little bit of starch to them so that you can cut it in half, still holds its shape, and can withstand heat. I'm gonna die and shit my pants right now. I ate so much.
After our meal, we got a little tour of the restaurant. Not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting much at first, but once the doors opened, it was like walking inside an old museum. Back stables were converted into wine cellars, themed historical dining rooms with colorful wallpaper and chandeliers. Brennans screamed opulence and showed a glimpse of what life would have been like as a patron dining here throughout the years. Oh, and obviously we couldn't help but drool at the sheer size of the kitchen inside. This was the best way to end our New Orleans food tour. To recap, in 24 hours we tried beignets from Café du Monde, Gator Sausage from the French Market, proper Cajun fare at Liuzza's by the Track, a spicy seafood boil from Crawfish and Chill, and ending with the brunch at Brennan's with a tableside banana foster. New Orleans takes a special place in my heart with its love for food, music, culture, and history. Thanks for watching and be tuned for the next city in Texas.